Alright, radio check, radio check. We should be live. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Very much is appreciated. Apologies for the slight delay there. Just had some technical issues getting everything set it up for Twitch and YouTube. Yeah, alright. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in. So currently up on the screen we've got the free practice 1 timings. As you can see, we have got Lando Norris top of the times. He is a tenth and a half clear of George Russell. Then we've got the Ferraris in 3 and 4, the Red Bulls in 5 and 6. Tsunoda's made a great showing in his first free practice session with Red Bull, only a tenth of a second back from Max Verstappen. So a very, very good start there from Yuki Tsunoda, and great to see, great to see. And then we've got Fernando Alonso in 7th position, Isaac Hadjar in 8th. He's doing a good showing there in the VCARB team. Antonelli in 9th position. He's still got a lot of ground to make up to his teammate. Lawson in 13th. Good. Well, this is first time driving the VCARB car as well. You know, you got to give him some slack. Of course, Tsunoda has a little bit more pressure. The Red Bull car is a little bit harder to drive, but nonetheless, it's a new car for Liam Lawson, so you can cut him some slack. He's a bit behind Isaac Hadjar. Then we've got Pierre Gasly in 14th place. He's still a little bit back from... actually, where is... oh yeah, Gasly's in 14th. We have... Oh, sorry, I've totally missed the order there. We've got Sainz in 10th, who's still ahead of Albon. So good going there from Sainz, but still, the Williams team would like to be slightly higher up. Then Albon 11th. Ryo Hirakawa in 12th. He was sitting in for Jack Doohan. So Jack Doohan will be driving in free practice 2. Then we will have Lawson in 13th place. Pierre Gasly in 14th place. He's actually behind Hirakawa, who's of course not a full-time Formula 1 driver, so a little bit interesting there, but I'm sure it was just different run plans, to be honest. And then we have Oscar Piastri in 15th place. He's still got a lot of places to make up to his teammate, 1.1 seconds back, but I don't think he did a full low-fuel run. Then we have got... Lance Stroll in 16th place, Nico Hulkenberg in 17th, Behrman and Ocon in 18th and 19th, and Bortoletto in 20th. So that was free practice 1 timings, and yeah, the wind was really affecting lap times. The issue was that, well, the wind was quite severe, to be honest. It was 18.7 kilometers per hour. For the majority of the session, it was fluctuating between 15 and 20 kilometers per hour. And these cars are getting very, very sensitive to the wind now. As they get more and more developed and they extract every single little ounce of performance they can out of the aerodynamics, they also tend to become more and more sensitive to disruptions from the wind, disruptions from other places. So that is that's the thing. All right. Yeah. As promised, I'll awake at 12:30 a.m. US Central. Well, thank you for being awake, Victor. Glad that you are staying up. Yeah, here in the UK, it's now 6:30. So approaching my wake up time of 7 a.m. So not too bad for me. But yeah. All right, we got 800 people already tuned into the live stream. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Very much is appreciated. Yeah, we've got a couple of people over on Twitch as well, I think. Nice to see, folks. I am also streaming on Twitch. If you guys are interested, you know, if some of you prefer Twitch to YouTube, then I'm on Twitch at F1_gamer_5. But of course, we do have more people in the YouTube chat because that is where I mainly stream. And the link's in the description to the Twitch if you are interested. But anyway, let's get back to the coverage. We do have rain forecast, ladies and gentlemen. The rain has been forecast for Sunday, and the forecast has been increasing in percentage of rain. Earlier in the week, it was 20%, and then it went to 40%, and then now it is up at 60% the last time I checked. In fact, let me just load it up now. Oh, it's gone from 60% to 80%. 80% chance of rain, ladies and gentlemen, in at the Suzuka Grand Prix circuit. So, yeah, that's going to be very, very exciting. Cannot wait to see what happens, and it's going to be brilliant. All right. So, in fact, you know what? I've so you guys in free practice 1, I showed you guys an onboard of the Suzuka circuit in dry conditions. I've also got a lap of the Suzuka circuit in wet conditions. So I might as well go and show you an onboard of the wet lap as well, what it'll look like. Of course, this is in preparation for Sunday. It's still forecast to be dry for today. It's still forecast to be dry for tomorrow. So we're going to have a dry qualifying, but then a potential wet race. So it'll be interesting, of course, with the qualifying as well. Some of the teams will pick a wet setup. Some of the teams will go slightly more for a dry setup, and that can affect the qualifying times as well. Yeah, it's giving the Oz Grand Prix where the prediction went from 60 over to 90 in 20 days. Yeah, well, this is what I'm saying. When the forecast goes up, it's a lot more likely that it's going to end up raining that day of the week. So let's go then. Let's play the onboard from Suzuka in the wet. Okie dokes. But yeah, we're going down into turn 1. I think this is, I didn't remember properly, so I am actually, so we're heading down towards turn 1, and we're going through the S section. The S section is very, very tricky, as you can see here, I'm sliding about, but on the curves, there is such a big pool of water in so many places, you just don't want to touch the curves whatsoever. And as you go up towards the curves again, and the exit done that are very easy to do. You get towards Degner, the camber of Degner 1 and Degner 2 means that there's a huge put on the side of both wheels, so you actually take the outside line. Short shift through the wheels as well. And at the hairpin, once again, take the outside line because the inside line has got way too much water on it. And hopefully don't snap out the door end like I've just done there. Once again, you can still hold it flat and do flat through the little curve section as you go towards smooth curve. Smooth curve a lot slower. You get down all the way to 4th gear, and then you're coasting a lot of way through the collision, waiting for the car to break it, waiting for the front to pick up the grip, and then finally straight down the back straight. Of course, no DRS in this case, we're going through 130 hours. You're going to try and curve it flat through 130 hours well. Get away with it, it's very borderline though. If you've got Bill Dudley ahead of you, you probably wouldn't want to be doing that. And you go through towards the chicane and there's a very high chance of locking off back. And you want to stay off, you want to get some smooth traction. If you touch the curb, you can spin so easily until you actually spin. Other than that, so Sargent said the last time we were here in Suzuka. But that is a hot lap in wet conditions at the Suzuka. Oh my god, I had the... I'm an idiot. I'm just an idiot. I forgot to turn down the audio. Apologies here, folks. I am such an idiot. Yeah, I turned down the audio for the dry lap, and I totally forgot to turn it off. Whoopsie daisies. Yeah, I was commentating, and then right. Well, I guess we'll go through a wet lap later on. There's no point doing it all over again. But yeah, I should have been reading chat. I wasn't paying attention to chat. I was too busy looking at my lap. Apologies. Okay. Right. Well, anyway, let's get back to free practice 2. So this is the time that qualifying will be taking place tomorrow, and with qualifying taking place tomorrow, we'll probably be having. Well, we're gonna have a lot more. At the same time, we're going to have a lot more quali runs taking place in today's session. We had a couple of quali runs yesterday, but because... Not yesterday, earlier on in the session in free practice 1, but we're going to have a lot more quali runs, especially the end of FP2. We'll have everyone coming in to do their quali laps to just get a feel for the car, really. All right. Tsunoda's doing well. Tsunoda is doing well, yeah. I'm so glad we have a decent time for the afternoon races. Yeah, the rest of the races are midnight. Indeed, that's unfortunate, isn't it? Thoughts on the Ferrari disqualification? Yeah, so the thoughts. I mean, the thing is, they underestimated the amount of tire wear on the one-stop strategy for Ferrari for Charles. We saw, in fact, I don't know if any of you guys saw this, but after the race had finished, on the cool-down lap, all of the drivers were, in fact, they were picking up all of the rubber as much as they possibly could. But then, after that, after they picked up all of the rubber that they could, they started driving over the grass on purpose to try and pick up some extra weight from the grass as well, like the grass and the dirt. They added that weight onto the wheels. So yeah, kind of mind-blowing really that they went to that extent and starting driving over grass to pick up some extra weight. Leclerc did the same. Leclerc also drove over some grass to try and pick up some extra weight, but of course it wasn't enough. He was still 1 kilo underweight for the limit. And yeah, I mean, this is a bit of a thing. We saw this happen last year with George Russell, or was it last year or the year before? But George Russell getting disqualified after winning the Belgian Grand Prix because his car was underweight. Yeah, I think it was last year. He did a one-stop strategy, pulled it off fantastically, but then ended up getting disqualified because he had too much tyre wear and the weight limit of the car had fallen below the allowed, the minimum. So yeah, like it's a tricky thing to manage really, and I think the FIA should sort of just remove it. I think that what the FIA should do is should take the wheels off and then weigh the cars, because that will probably make it a lot fairer rather than the drivers having to drive all over the grass to pick up some extra weight. Like, that makes no sense, and it's just a bit ridiculous really. Yeah. And then in terms of Hamilton's disqualification, I think the reason that happened was because what happened was that Hamilton had put his car, not Hamilton, the Ferrari team had miscalculated the sort of tyre wear had miscalculated the skid block wear, like the skid plank wear, in the free practice 1 session. Because it was a sprint weekend, they only had one practice session, and they only had probably about 10 minutes of that practice session to gather the data for the skid wear, and then we're like, all right, we'll call it a day, that's enough. So they did that, and then qualifying came around. Hamilton's car was lower than probably everyone else's, and his plank was wearing out faster than everyone else's, but it wasn't an issue because, it was just a sprint race. There was only 17, 18 laps, and it wouldn't have mattered anyway. So Hamilton had a much lower car to everyone else compared to everyone else, and then obviously had a lot more downforce. Got the sprint pole position, got the sprint race win, and then after the sprint race happened, parc fermé regulations break, and then you can change your setup for quali again. And Ferrari measured the amount of wear on the plank and were like, this has worn out way too much. And then what they had to do, they had to go into full safety mode, and then they were like, right, well, we've got to increase the ride height a bunch now to sort of prevent this from wearing out even more. So they did. However, they still underestimated that as well, and that's why Hamilton's pace dropped so much between the sprint race and the actual race, and that is why he ended up getting disqualified as well. Yeah, very, very unfortunate. I mean, I say much lower. It was 1 millimeter, but that's 1 millimeter closer to the ground has a pretty big impact in terms of downforce levels. Like, if ask any team, like if they have the ability to go 1 millimeter closer to the ground, they will, if they have the option to, without wearing out their skid plank, because the 1 millimeter was the difference that Lewis Hamilton had from ending up. I think he ended up the race in 6th position and winning the sprint race. So that was the pace difference from moving the floor down from 1 millimeter lower or 1 millimeter higher. Brings you from 6th place to 1st place. I mean, that speaks to a lot of how close the field is, but also how impactful that 1 millimeter lower ride height is. All right, just joined. Who's there in the second Alpine? It's a reserve driver for now. It's Ryo. He's a Japanese reserve driver, so that's why he's taking part in the FP1 session here in Japan. But it'll be Jack Doohan taking part in FP2. All right, and let's have a look. Have we got the data coming through for FP2 yet? Let's see. no data for FP2, so we'll just carry on going with the FP1 data for now. We've got 1,500 people tuned in. Very much is appreciated. Thank you everyone for tuning in. All right, so let's take you through a lap of the... I'll take you through a lap of the Japanese Grand Prix circuit, this time in the wet. This time you'll actually be able to hear me, and then we'll go through and we'll do one in the dry as well, because why not? So here we go. We'll go through with a wet lap then. So as you do, you're going down the start-finish straight towards turn number 1. You have to lift off the brakes really, really early here and just coast through this corner. You've got to wait for the car to rotate as you go through here, and then you're now going towards turn number the S's, and you've got to stay away from the curbs here because they are very, very slippery. There are puddles that form towards the inside of the curbs as well, so there are very much no-go zone when it starts raining on Sunday. As you go through Dunlop Curve, the car goes very light. In dry conditions, it does the exact same. In wet conditions, it's very easy to lose the car there. Then through Degner 1 and Degner 2, both of the corners are so cambered that there are huge puddles on the inside line, so you want to stay away from those. And then now you go towards the hairpin. You do not want to lock up. We've seen Albon and Antonelli lock up in FP1, and that's in dry conditions. In wet conditions, even more dangerous. You go straight on into gravel, no recovering from that. And now you're heading towards Spoon Curve. Once again, track very, very narrow here. There's going to be a whole lot of spray once it starts raining on Sunday. But yeah, you back off the corner and you're sort of just coasting through here, letting the car rotate as much as it possibly can before you very smoothly, slowly get onto the power as the car straightens up as you go onto the back straight. No DRS, of course, in wet conditions, but no DRS on this part of the track anyway. You go over the bridge, now flick it left towards 130R and you hold it as much as you possibly can. It's very, very borderline. If you've got a little bit of dirty air, you probably don't want to be going flat. I mean, in race conditions, you wouldn't be going flat. Maybe on a wet quali lap, you could hold it flat. And then the wet racing line here at the chicane is totally different to the dry racing line, but you do want to hug it to the inside line as much as possible to get to minimize the distance to the finish line. But that is a lap of Suzuka in wet conditions. Yeah. Oh, hi Drew, nice to see you here, back watching the stream, buddy. Yeah, we're 12 minutes away from free practice 2, and yeah, can you make the hot lap louder? Yeah, I will adjust the hot laps to make the audio perfect in the upcoming days. Well, for next stream probably, yeah. The forecast is raining. Race, anything could happen. Indeed, it is. It's been forecast to rain, and the chance of rain is going up. It's not going to be the most intense rain ever, so I think if it does rain, it'll probably still just be intermediate tires. But nonetheless, rain is rain, and it's gonna make the race a whole lot more interesting. All right. So we have got 2,000 people tuning into the live stream. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Be sure to hit the like button as well, folks. Race predictions. Well, if it's raining, I have no way to predict what's going to happen. Yeah, honestly, I would love to make a race prediction, but if it's raining, then it's anyone's race to win. Yeah. What time is quali? Quali is in 24 hours. In 24 hours and 10 minutes, that is when qualifying starts. So yeah, set your alarms and everything. Get ready. All right. So let's see. I missed the Dutch national anthem lately, and the Japanese anthem even more. Well, I would like to let you know Max Verstappen has won the last 3 not Dutch Grand Prix. He's won the last 3 Japanese Grand Prix. So yeah, Max Verstappen's got a pretty good track record here. Last 3 pole positions, last 3 Japanese Grand Prix wins. I don't know why I'm saying Dutch Grand Prix. But yes, Max Verstappen goes pretty well around here. Of course, this is a driver's circuit. You've got a lot of skill involved going through those S's. And then, of course, Degner 1 and 2 as well. Very much driver skill. You've got to time those corners absolutely to perfection. And if you don't, then you're off into the gravel or you miss the apex totally. So, yeah, very, very tricky circuit. And it's always good to see the action around here. All right. And yeah, all eyes really on Yuki Tsunoda. What can he do? How can he perform? And for the first session of the weekend, he's delivered pretty good performances. In fact, only a tenth behind Max Verstappen, which is a long time since we've had any driver sort of join the Red Bull team and be a tenth behind Max Verstappen within the space of 1 hour. You know, we've seen Sergio Perez get within a tenth of Max on occasion, you know, like I think maybe 2022, 2023, he wasn't so bad, and on certain street circuits, Sergio Perez would be able to keep up. And then we saw on occasion, actually, there's no one really, like on occasion Perez could keep up with him, but apart from that, there's been no one. Lawson's been right at the back of the pack, and then when Gasly and Albon were teammates to Verstappen, they were nowhere near him either. So in the 1 hour that Yuki Tsunoda's had, and of course a load of simulator time, he's managed to get within 1/10 of a second of Max Verstappen. So it's looking good. It's looking good. Yuki 2025 World Championship confirmed. I mean, that would be a story to behold. Yuki Tsunoda gets promoted 2 races into the season and then goes on to win the championship. That would be mind blowing. But we shall wait and see if that happens. Let's first wait till qualifying and see where he performs before we start saying Yuki Tsunoda World Championship. Yeah, drivers will keep turning it up. We'll see if Yuki can really stay behind Max. Yeah, that is true. But I think as a typical thing, Max Verstappen typically just goes hard out in all of the sessions. Like, he doesn't, like, there's a lot of drivers that do sort of build up their pace from, say, FP1 to FP2 to FP3 and then slowly start attacking. But Max Verstappen's one of those drivers that will just go out and set quick laps right from the outset. So yeah, not too much to worry about for Tsunoda for now. Last year's pole was a 128.1, and yeah, the drivers currently are doing 128.5, so they're really no slouch really. They're all sort of picking up the pace reasonably quickly. Do you think Daniel was the closest to Max out of all the drivers for Red Bull? Yeah, indeed. I was saying this in FP1. The last time there was a driver that could consistently compete with Max as the Red Bull second driver was 2018 when Daniel Ricciardo was competing against Max Verstappen. Like, that was the last time there was any sort of competition at that Red Bull seat. So yeah, all right, we've got the free practice 2 data coming through, so let me just get rid of the free practice 1 data. Brilliant. All right, so yeah, there we go, free practice 2 data there. Same steering wheel, better car. I bet Yuki's loving it. I mean, yeah, they've of course painted the Red Bull white this weekend, of course, to make it look more like the V-carb, and then hence make Yuki Tsunoda a little bit more confident. Of course, that's what it is. But no, of course, it'll be the same car, it'll be the same engine. So that definitely helps a lot. Like, when you switch between engine manufacturers, it is slightly difficult. I'm sure Hamilton had a little bit of a difficult time converting from Mercedes. I mean, he's been with Mercedes engines for so long. Even when he was with McLaren, it was McLaren Mercedes, and they had the Mercedes engine. So I think it was, at least. Yeah, I think it was. So yeah, he has had the Mercedes engine for so long in Formula 1, and it would have been a big change switching to the Ferrari engine, all of the different power unit modes and all of the different strat options and things like that. But, you know, he's got used to that, and for Tsunoda, just making that step up from the teams makes it very, very easy that they're both on the same power unit. There'll be the same modes, like, oh, you press P0, P1, switch off, and the steering wheel's approximately the same as well, so it should be good. My favourite radio message, my favourite radio message has got to, well, from this season, it's definitely got to be, let's add that to the words of wisdom. I mean, honestly, you've just got to love Charles for that. Like, he's driving a Formula 1 car in wet conditions at Australia, right? Like, what a very, very tricky circuit to be driving in the wet conditions around, and he's just coming off with funny punchlines like that. It's incredible. It must be the water, honestly. What happened to Oscar for him to go 15th? Oscar just wasn't... I didn't think he did a hot lap like Norris did. I didn't think he went out on a set of soft tyres to do a hot lap. So that's why he's in 15th place. Favourite radio message of all time? I don't know. Boah could be one. There could be steering wheel and gloves. Kimi, you will not have the drink. I don't know. There's no way I'll be able to pick a single radio message. You could have Seb Vettel singing Blue Flags. What else have you got? You've got he cut the chicane, karma, 5 seconds penalty. Like, They could be all manner of things. All the time you have to leave the space all the time. Yeah, I don't know. What are your favorite radio messages, folks? Do let me know. Do let me know. But we are now, what is it? 5 minutes away from the start of free practice 2, and yeah, the engine feels good, much slower than before. Yeah, GP2 engine, GP2. All right. Also, folks, if you aren't able to type in chat, you have to subscribe to the channel for 1 minute, and then you're allowed to type in chat. So yeah, I think there were a couple of people that obviously don't know, and it says that you can't type. So yeah, if you guys do want to type in chat, then go ahead, press the subscribe button. Wait 1 minute, and then I'll let you type in the chat. All right. Press K1. Yeah, the K1 could be a pretty good radio message. Yuki, was that sarcastic? Yeah. Honestly, there have been some very good team radios through this. Yeah, there's something loose between my legs, apart from the obvious. All right. Isn't it some ungodly hour in the UK? No, it's only well, it's approaching 7 a.m. So 7 a.m. really isn't that bad. All right. So here we go then. Free practice 2 will be underway very, very shortly. I'll take you through a hot lap of the dry circuit as well, because, well, that's what we're going to have today. And then we'll get underway for free practice 2. It's a 5.8 kilometer circuit, and we've got 18 corners on this circuit, and well, it's a fantastic track. The drivers love it. There's loads of there's a load of elevation changes as well. The first sector is going right up a hill, and then you go right back down again. So yeah, fantastic circuit, and I shall take you through a lap. All right, so here we are, barreling our way down towards the final chicane. You want to clip that apex, drive over the bollards as I've just done there. Then you go onto the power, take a wide line here because you're going to maximise your speed down the straight. Open the DRS flap as you go down the main straight, up into 8th gear, up to 320 kilometers per hour. You turn the car in, then you lift off, then you start braking. You keep the car rotated. Do not touch that curb, or you snap just like I did there. And then you go through the S's, and you've just got to keep a rhythm through these corners. If you can't keep a rhythm, then it's very, very difficult, and very smooth on the steering wheel. That's another thing as well. You go through Dunlop, the car goes a little light, it'll snap a little bit, but you can keep it under control because you're expecting the snap. Like, if you can expect it, then it'll be fine. Through Degner 1, flick the car to the right. Same thing for Degner 2. The camber really helps you here. You go under the bridge that you'll be driving over later. And now towards the hairpin, we saw Albon and Anthony both lock up and go straight on here. But yeah, the ideal line, take the outside line, let the camber help you through there, and then you go towards Spoon Curve now. And Spoon Curve's a tricky corner. You have to take 2 apexes and take the first apex here, then you go drift back out, take the second apex, and then you drift back out again, maxing out 4th gear before you upshift into 5th, before you get onto the power fully, and then you're going down the back straight, over the bridge once again, now towards 130R. This corner you can basically take one-handed these days. In fact, Charles Leclerc did take it one-handed a couple of years ago. And then onto the brakes you go for the final chicane. You don't want to get onto the power a little bit too early. If you drive over the curbs, we saw a lot of drivers do that. Lando Norris did that, driving over the curb too aggressively, getting onto the power, and then onto the gravel you go. But then you come across the line and you go all the way towards the inside line. To minimize your track distance. All right, so here we are then, 44 seconds away from free practice 2. Do we expect a wet race? Indeed we do. We expect a wet race, a dry qualifying session, but a wet race nonetheless. All right. What game is that, GT7? No, the game is F1 2021. Yeah, that's the most recent F1 game I've got. I'm not exactly the most up-to-date F1 gamer, really. But nonetheless, yeah, my personal best time, in fact, on that game for the Suzuka circuit, I'm 1,400th on the leaderboard, and I think there are 100,000 people on the leaderboard. So I'm quite happy with that. 1,400 out of 100,000, top 1%, top 2%. Yeah. Oh, I will be getting the F1 25 game. Well, I'm going to wait for it to come out first. To be fair, I need to get a new Xbox. That's the thing. I've got the Xbox One S, and the new game isn't available on the Xbox One S. So we'll have to get a new Xbox for that, which is a bit of a pain, really. But or I could play on PC. I'll have to look if my laptop can run it. There we go. Let's get rid of the countdown timer, and we've got drivers making their way out onto the circuit. Very, very nice. Drivers coming out on the hard tyres for the start of the session, and there'll be, well, this is the thing. This time will be the time that the drivers will be driving around on hard tyres if it doesn't rain on Sunday. So they're trying to get as much hard tyre information as possible, just in case it doesn't rain, or if in case the rain is light and then they have to switch onto the hard tyres to go to the end of the race or something like that. But yeah, the first half of the session, first 3/4 of the session, the drivers will be out on hards and mediums, gathering as much information as possible. Then, right at the end of the session, that will be the same. This, like, right now is the start of Q1. Right at the end of the free practice 2 session will be the end of Q3. So that's when everyone will come out on a set of soft tyres to do their qualifying runs. And yeah. All right. I'm going to have a quick sip of water. I've got 4,000 people tuned in to the live stream. Yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in. Is the tyre deg low for slicks if the track is wet but not wet enough for inters? Yeah, the tyre deg will be lower because the track temperature will be lower. So lower track temperature, lower tyre temperature, and lower tyre temperature means lower tyre wear. Yeah. So yeah, if it's slightly damp, then you could maybe get away with running the medium tyres for like half the race because track temperature will be significantly lower. But yeah, it becomes a problem for traction as well. So it's a double-edged sword, really. Is this that info you're showing here? Where can we access it? You have to have F1 TV. You have to have F1 TV, and then there's this other app called Multiviewer, which you access it through. But if you don't have F1 TV, then you can't access it. The link for F1 TV is in the description, so if you guys are interested, then go ahead and check that out. But yeah, here we are with coverage for free practice 2. We are 3 minutes into the session. We've got 4,000 people tuned into the stream. That is fantastic. Oh my god, that is a monstrous radio message to Isaac Hadjar that's now just popped off the screen. Cadillac next year? Yeah, we will be having Cadillac joining us next year. Of course, Sauber will be turning into Audi, and then we'll have Cadillac as well. So lots of major car manufacturers on the grid, which is fantastic. Next we've got Porsche. We need Porsche to join. We need BMW to join. Who else? Which other car manufacturers do we reckon? Well, Honda are already making engines. So who else could you get? You could get I don't know. Lamborghini F1 team. I don't think Lamborghini do a little bit of GT3, I think, but they don't do much else. Toyota, you could get maybe Toyota into Formula 1. Yeah. Toyota with Haas, that would be that's pretty good. I think they're already working together or something. I'm not 100% certain, but Koenigsegg or Pagani, yeah. I mean, that would be wild, but I don't know if they really have the budgets to do that. Like Koenigsegg already spent so much developing their road cars. Okay. Skoda, probably not. Jaguar could join again, actually. No, wait, did Jag have a Formula 1 team before? Was it Jag? I think they did at some point, but I can't remember. Would be cool if Lockheed Martin made a team. Yeah, I mean Lockheed Martin are pretty good at aerodynamics, so I'm sure they wouldn't be too bad at a Formula 1 team. But who knows? Jaguar did have it. Yeah, Jaguar. Oh, okay. Red Bull bought it from them. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, no, that's way before my time. I mean, I started watching Formula 1 in 2018, so Yeah, the last I think the 2018 what happened, it changed from Force India to Racing Point, and then you had Alfa Romeo, the Alfa Romeo that's kept switching between Alfa Romeo and Sauber for so long. Yeah. All right. So well, we got the drivers out on everyone's out on mediums or hards, and yeah, this is the first time the drivers we're using the C1 tires this season. The C1 tires, I think a couple of teams did a little bit of testing on them, but this is the first time in a race or in a race weekend that the C1 tires are being used. So the teams are all just doing some information gathering if they can if these tyres will last, because the medium tyres, the drivers were just suffering from a little bit of graining. We heard Lando Norris complain about it. Lando Norris' engineer said that Russell's also struggling with it, but those were on the medium tyres, so potentially with the hard tyres you could avoid the graining issues. Okay. And when I say first time using the C1 tyres, I mean the first time using the new C1 tyres for this year. Like Pirelli make new tyres for each year, so yeah. All right, Tsunoda up there in 5th place. Nicely done. We got Max Verstappen on an outlap here. We'll see what he can do soon enough. Crazy that Red Bull owns 2 F1 teams. It is, but the thing is that Red Bull are also extreme sports. Like, if Red Bull didn't have a Formula 1 team, a lot of people would kind of expect them to, just given how much extreme sports that they do. Yeah. Derek Pina, honest question: is F1 TV worth it, or is is the Pro subscription sufficient? Honestly, I think the Pro subscription is fine, because F1 TV Premium just gives you like 4K access to some stuff, and it gives you access to like side by side data, but you could do most of that. Oh, someone's had an off. We've got yellow flags. DRS is disabled, and that is, who is that? Jack Doohan at turn number 1. Red flag. Oh my goodness me. Not ideal there for Jack Doohan. Had an issue going into turn number 1. It's caused a red flag. I don't know how. Oh, it's a huge crash, actually. I would have expected him just to be stuck in the gravel trap, but no, a huge crash for Jack Doohan. And this is his first time out, of course, here, because he wasn't driving an FP1, and that Alpine is, very severely damaged. I don't know how he's managed to do that, unless he's lost the rear of the... It looks like he has. He's lost the rear of the car turning into turn number 1, and you can see the skid marks all over the ground. Oh no. Well, that's going to cut a bit of running short, to be honest. Yeah, Doohan is fine by the looks of it. Actually, has he got out of the car? Have we got team radios from Doohan, actually? Yeah, we've got team radios from Doohan. He says that he's all okay. He is, it looks like, well, we haven't got a replay just yet, but he's turned into turn number 1, and there's a load of skid marks all over the entry, and seems interesting. Right, yeah, he's got out the car now, and we'll get a replay soon enough. But essentially, I think what happened was that, unless he had like a DRS failure, which would have been catastrophic, it just seems like a loss of the rear end as he turns into the first corner. But that's that car is very much beyond repair. I think 3 out of the 4 wheels, actually all 4 wheels are all all suspensions are gone. The front suspension, rear suspension, rear wing, front wing. Yeah, I mean, maybe the engine's fine, but after an impact like that, I would doubt it. Why wasn't Doohan out in FP1? Alpine trying to ease him out. Yeah, I don't know what Alpine are doing, because Jack Doohan is the rookie, and Pierre Gasly has driven at this circuit many times in a Formula 1 car. Jack Doohan hasn't. So they gave Ryo Hirakawa, who is a WEC, a Japanese endurance driver who drives in WEC for Toyota and has won WEC. Like, he's a very good driver, but he was driving in the free practice 1 session because he's a reserve driver, right? And they gave Jack Doohan his seat. Like, they gave Jack Doohan's seat to Ryo Hirakawa rather than Pierre Gasly's seat. Like, it makes no sense. Like, they do these stupid things, and you give your rookie no time in the car, and you give some reserve, and you put a reserve driver in. Like, it's stupid. And then Jack Doohan's now just gone and crashed. Like, it's going to take a while to clear up all of the debris, and still we haven't got a replay of what happened. Oh, why don't they stop the timer on flags? They do stop the timer if it's qualifying. However, in practice sessions, they just don't stop the timer because it's like, well, you might as well just keep the timer ticking. And the thing is, they can afford to stop it for qualifying because they know that they sort of have an allowance for red flags in quali, but in practice sessions there are other things going on the circuit, and they're like, well, we've had this 1 hour slot allocated to us, we're only going to use this 1 hour slot, and that's that. So yeah, it's just the way the rules are set up. Like practice time isn't the most important thing in the world. It's like the team will be able to cope with just 1 hour of practice, but yeah. All right. So we finally got the replay here. So Jack Doohan coming down the main straight. He activates DRS, I think, as well as he's going down the main straight. And now going towards turn number 1. As he touched the gravel, oh my god. Okay, Doohan has done the same thing that I was doing on the F1 games yesterday, where the Formula 1 cars are wider at the rear than they are on the front. Unless it's a DRS failure, but I don't think it is a DRS failure. Yeah, DRS looks fine. It was a pretty big impact, to be honest. But I think what he's just done is, because Formula 1 cars are wider at the rear than they are at the front, his front left tyre was right there, right on the white line, right next to the grass. However, his rear tyre was touching the grass, and in fact driving over the grass. So then as he went to turn into turn number 1, he put a bunch of load on his outside tyres, his left tyres, and because they were dirty because of the grass, they were touching the grass, he had no grip whatsoever. The car just slid out from underneath him and straight into the barrier as he went. So there was no sort of recovery point. Like if he felt the car to snap, that even if he tried to counter steer to stop the car snapping, there was nothing that he could do. Like he was well on his way towards the barriers at that point. So yeah, just a mistake from the start, really. I think we saw it here with Albon as well. Albon did it in his rookie season at Red. Oh no, not his rookie season. I think Albon did it his first season at Red Bull. Albon also did the same thing at another corner. I can't remember which corner. I think it was Degner 1. But we've seen a lot of drivers do this, where, because typically, on the entry point to a corner, you don't have grass, you have a curb, and the curb has a reasonable amount of grip. You don't have zero grip whatsoever. So the drivers are very used to sort of going towards the white line with their front wheel on the white line and then their rear wheel slightly touching the curb, but it doesn't matter anyway because the curb is grippy enough. Whereas when you're here at Suzuka, there is no curb on the entry point to turn number 1. There is just grass. There's the white line and then there's grass. So then Jack Doohan was driving like he normally does. At any other circuit there would have been a curb there, but at Suzuka there isn't, and it's caught him out. Very unfortunate. Yeah. Yeah, just watching the replay here, as he turns into, it looks like, he's just touching the dirty part of the track as he turns in. Okay, F1 TV is saying his DRS was open. Was that? Let's have a look. I mean, I'm watching this replay here. I mean, this isn't the most high definition replay I've ever seen in the world, but that might be true actually, because it also, like, it looks so violent. Like normally, the track's dirty and stuff, like you do lose grip, but the DRS flap looks closed. Oh, maybe it was open and then it didn't close. And then it closed while he crashed. I can't exactly tell, but yeah, I mean we'll find out soon enough. I think it would have been a pretty high amount of G-forces, to be honest. Are they going to show us the backwards camera? Because if they can show us the backwards camera, then that would really clear things up. Let's have a look. I'll try and find out. No, still they don't show us the backwards camera. So If it was a DRS failure, then, fair enough. But also, I wouldn't have expected, driving over some dirt to be that unstable. Interesting. Right. Like, we've seen it happen before, so that's why that's the first thing that I suggested, and that is what he was doing. He was still technically on the curb a little bit. But, right, let's find out. Was his DRS open? Interesting. Okay, nothing official has come out from the... He didn't lift the DRS when entering the turn, so he experienced huge forces and lost the car. Maybe that is... See, this is the exact reason why Formula 1, the FIA, don't have DRS before 130R. Because before 130R, if they have another thing at 130R, the speeds are even higher at 130R, and the barriers are even smaller. Like, the runoff distance is even smaller, I think. So yeah, that's why they don't have DRS going down the back straight, because if the DRS flap doesn't close for whatever reason, and normally the way that the DRS thing is set up is such that the drivers press the brakes, and then the DRS closes, or they have to pass the detection point and the DRS closes. But normally they press the brakes and the DRS shuts, and there isn't a braking zone all the way until the chicane. So I mean, yeah, it will shake his confidence if he knows that if it wasn't a DRS failure. If it was a DRS failure, then he's not going to shake his confidence, because he'll just be like, well, it was the car's fault. There was nothing that I could do. Isn't there a maximum point that the DRS can go before the sensor closes? Yeah, there is meant to be a maximum point. But of course, if there has been a failure, like let's say the mechanism that shuts the DRS flap or opens the DRS flap broke for whatever reason, then it's not going to close, is it? Yeah. Interesting. Okay. Also, folks, if you haven't hit the like button, be sure to do so. It really does help out the channel. Hopefully we can make our way towards, let's see, 1,000 likes. I should probably reduce that, given that we've got a red flag. We're not going to get that many people watching anyway. So let's maybe 1,500. That'd be fantastic. But yeah, we've got a red flag for now. They've picked up most of the debris, and they've put the car onto the back of the lorry. So yeah. Okay, I mean, yeah, he did spin pretty hard, so it kind of indicates the severity of the spin and the speed of the spin sort of suggests that yes, it was a DRS failure, but there's no way that we can know. Yeah, Doohan is totally fine. It was a pretty high G impact. He wasn't walking the best as he got out of the car, but they all do their medical procedures, and the time is ticking on, as we have got 41 minutes left to go till the end of the session. All right. Also, folks, if you guys are interested, we've got quite a lot of people watching on YouTube. If you guys do want to watch on Twitch, if that's your preferred streaming platform, then go ahead. There's a link in the description to the Twitch stream, so go ahead and check that out. Very much is appreciated. Yeah, go ahead and drop me a follow. Trying to make my way towards, I think it's, what is it, Twitch affiliate, Twitch partner, I'm not sure. But yeah, if you guys could follow me on that would very much be appreciated. All right. Doohan has to be rattled. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't inspire confidence. Like, if it was his own mistake, then he's going to be rattled by the fact that he made a mistake that was that big, and the margins are very, very small in Formula 1 and things like that. And then if it was a DRS failure, then he's not going to be confident in the car. He's going to be like, well, what is this car that you guys have given me? Like, I have no... if the DRS flap doesn't close and I crash, like, yeah. 180 mile per hour impact. Yeah, 220 Ks as the drivers are 320 Ks. Sorry, as the drivers are going down the main straight. So 320 Ks, 200 miles per hour. Pretty severe impact. He would have slowed down a little bit as he skidded over the gravel, but Yeah. All right. I remember there was a point where everyone was saying you wouldn't make it to Australia, it was getting replaced by Franco. Yeah, maybe. I mean, I don't know. I think they're not going to do it. Surely they're not going to do a Red Bull and replace him after 3 races. Like, they've got to wait till at least halfway through the season. Like, you've got to give the guy at least a full season to sort of develop and get adapted to the car. You can't just kick him out halfway through. But they've done that to Lawson. Red Bull have. I don't know if Alpine will have the guts to do that, or if they'll just have or if they will do that, really, because I don't think Alpine are sort of. There's a reason they kicked Lawson out. If Red Bull were competing right at the back of the pack, they wouldn't have kicked Lawson out because it wouldn't have mattered. Their constructors' points really don't matter if they were at the back of the pack, but at the front of the pack they do. It means a whole difference between prize money as well. So, yeah. It does make sense that they kicked Lawson out soon enough. I mean, it should have been Tsunoda in the car from the first place. So yeah, maybe we'll get Colapinto, maybe we won't. I will be happy to see Colapinto back though. Like with Cadillac, there's been it could be Valtteri Bottas joining Cadillac, it could be Franco Colapinto, it could be Colton Herta, it could be all manner of people joining. It could be Logan Sargent, it could be Nicholas Gotifi. There's no way of knowing. There's no way of knowing who's it going to be. So we'll just have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see. How long does it wait for this red flag to end? The red flag should be ending in around about 3 minutes, 3-4 minutes. I haven't got official message from race control. I'm just predicting this what it's going to be based off. Well, the car is already back in the pits, so the car's fine. The issue is that they're just repairing the barriers, checking everything's fine, and then they will and then they'll send him out again, and then they'll open the green flag up. Yeah. Oh, they've now zoomed in. They've zoomed in a little bit. It looks like the DRS flap is closed. But also it kind of looks like it's open. You can't really tell. There's just not enough pixels. It looks like it was open as... well, I don't know. It looks like it was open, but I don't have enough pixels to be able to tell you if it was open or not. So... it looks like it was open when he's lost the car. Then as soon as he lost it, it closed itself. But I don't know. Yeah, Jack Doohan crashed, folks. Jack Doohan crashed going into turn number 1. It's suspected DRS failure, or he just touched the grass and the car just spun out from underneath him. Not exactly sure yet. No, I'm even watching the slow-mo, like watching the frame by frame. The DRS flap is definitely closed as he goes towards the barriers, but it is... we can't tell for certain if it was open or not when he actually lost the car. All right. Oh, we've got a message from Race Control. Session is restarting in 6 minutes' time. So, yeah, 6 minutes. And we shall be underway for the session. All right, yes, that'll be... Well, the drivers will have lost around about... Well, what's that? 15 minutes. Yeah, 15 minutes of running or so. Probably 20 minutes, actually, more like, 20 minutes of running. Okay, so we're looking at the steering wheel here. The DRS has got a button. Not a button, sorry, a light. Let's have a look. Oh, it does look like the DRS was open, actually. So basically, as the DRS flap opens, there is a red button that glows on Doohan's steering wheel. And yeah, that button was off at the start of the main straight. He goes down the main straight, goes through the DRS zone, it goes red, like
the DRS is open, and then as he turns into turn number 1, so he's going at the 50-meter board, he turns in, and the DRS flap is still open. So yeah, DRS failure. I don't know if, I mean, it must be a DRS failure, I think, because the DRS is meant to automatically shut, and it's like a sort of FIA mandated system that it automatically shuts. So unless he, so yeah, I think that's pretty clear cut, honestly. I don't think it was Doohan's mistake. I mean, a slight mistake that he was driving over the grass, but that's, you know, passable. It was a very small margin, and he would have probably had a snap of the car, not lost the car because of the amount of grass he was driving over. If it was any more grass, yeah, maybe he would have lost the car. But this was, I think, fairly clear cut DRS failure, given that his DRS light was still on as he turned into the corner. But yeah, I mean, wow. He goes, yeah, into the barrier at a huge speed. I mean, like, Max Verstappen had his crash at Copse, and that was 51G. And Copse has got a huge amount of tyre barrier. Like, I think it's got 4 layers of tyres, like 4 tyre widths, or 4 tyres depth of its tyre barriers. And that was a 51G impact, and that's what, 200 miles per hour. Doohan was doing the same. Doohan was doing 200 miles per hour as he goes through turn number 1. Probably lost 20 or so as he went over the gravel, but then straight into the barriers. And I think there's even less tyre barriers at turn number 1. I mean, there are, of course, there's Tech Pro and everything, but that would have been a pretty big impact for Doohan, and the FIA will definitely do his medical check. Yeah. Yeah, Doohan is fine. Like, he's got out of the car, he climbed out of the car himself and everything. But yeah, very strange. All right. Yeah, session's restarting in 3 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. 3 minutes till we get underway for the session. In fact, let me just stick a timer up on the session on the screen. Restart in, there we go. Boom. All right, 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and then we'll get a restart for the session. Fantastic. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't hit the like button, please be sure to do so. We're making our way towards 1,000 likes. That'd be fantastic. And also, we're getting pretty close to our subscriber target of 135k. So if we could hit that as well, that would be brilliant. Yeah, I've done some calculations, run some calculations in the 2-week break between between China and the Japanese Grand Prix. And if we carry on growing at the rate that we're growing here, if the channel carries on growing at this rate, then we will hit 200k by the end of the season. By the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, we'll hit 200k, maybe even slightly earlier as well. So, yeah, very much is appreciated. All of the new people tuning into Formula One. Yeah, hope you guys enjoy the coverage. Hope you guys do enjoy the streams, and we hope to continue commentating for you guys till the end of the season and beyond. All right. Yeah, we got a minute left, so in fact I'll take you through a hot lap of the Japanese Grand Prix circuit while we're waiting, and then we'll get underway for the session. So here we go, on board of the Japanese Grand Prix circuit. So in fact, let me just move the countdown timer to like here. In fact, we don't even need the countdown timer. Like, the session's restarting in a minute, folks. Just remember that. Okay. So the onboard, we're going down towards the chicane here. The chicane, as Fernando Alonso would say, we get onto the power and take the outside line here. Maximize the entry. The exit speed, sorry, and you got the DRS flap wide open, and as you can see here on the right hand side, the DRS flap closes as you hit the 50-meter mark. It doesn't close for Jack Doohan, so that's what happened there. That's why he crashed. Then now you go up the hill now through the S's. It's very much like a roller coaster here. You flick the car to the left, to the right. It smooths. It's very smooth steering inputs. The track is very, very smooth here. In fact, it's been resurfaced this year, and the drivers are absolutely loving it. They've got a headwind as they go through the S's as well, which makes it all even better. Now towards Degner 2, Degner 1 and Degner 2. Degner 2 here, so much camber helping you out, and you've got to stay within track limits there. Both corners have got track limits monitored, so that's going to be a tricky corner for the drivers in quali. Don't go off here like Albon and Antonelli did in FP1. Don't lock up the brakes. It's very, very easy to do so, but you want to take the outside line anyway, so you might as well just brake slightly later and carry the speed around the outside. Once again, for the spoon corner, you take the double apex, you take the first apex, drift back outside, and then take the second apex, and then back onto the power you go towards 130R, which is going to be a fantastic corner in wet conditions on Sunday. But for now, it's very, very easy. The drivers just turn the steering wheel ever so slightly left, and then slam on the brakes for the 100-meter mark for the chicane. Once again, do not drive over that curb like I just did, otherwise you'll lose the car. Lando Norris did that exact same thing in FP1, and then across the line. Take the inside line, take the shortest possible distance to the line to minimise your lap time, and that is a lap of the Suzuka Grand Prix circuit. All right. Yeah. Brilliant. We are underway for free practice 2 again. The session has restarted, and not everyone's come out just yet, but soon enough everyone will be making their way out onto the circuit. Okie dokes. I will try and find out how many G's the crash was. It will be a pretty high number, if I'm going to be honest with you. A huge impact, I think. Yeah, I think he did go for a medical checkup in the medical area. I'm not sure exactly what it's called, but yeah, interesting. Was the crash Doohan's fault? I don't think so. I mean, it's not been confirmed. I think Alpine will confirm it at some point. But basically, we looked at the onboard, and there's a button, there's a switch, or sorry, not a switch. There's an LED that turns on when DRS is activated, and then it switches off when DRS obviously isn't activated. And that LED was still on while Doohan hit the apex of turn number 1, as he turned in. If you watch the onboard from my lap, it turns off at the 50-meter board. That's where the designated switch off point is, but for whatever reason, when Doohan turned in, it just didn't turn off, and I don't know if that was the mechanism not working or the Alpine software system not working, but there was something wrong there, and the DRS LED was still on, which suggests that the DRS was still open, and that suggests why. So it looks like he crashed because the DRS was open. So I wouldn't go and blame Doohan just yet. I'll wait till it actually gets figured out. I mean, I still they have all of the onboard cameras on the Formula 1 cars anyway, so I don't get why they don't just show us the backwards camera and show us if the DRS flap was open or not. But I don't know. Maybe they haven't installed it on Doohan's car. But is Doohan out for the rest of FP2? Yes, he's out for the rest of the free practice 2. His car is totally destroyed. You've got the all 4 suspension arms, all 4 linkages, everything's broken. They're gonna have to check the engine, the gearbox. It's a huge impact. So yeah, I don't know what's gonna go on there really. But he will probably take part in FP3. There'll be a long night for the mechanics, but it will be he'll still be able to take part in FP3. Oh, we got Leclerc, purple first sector here. Another yellow flag. Oh no, who's this? Yellow flag, track sector 9. Alonso, where even is this? Degner 2. Alonso's stopped. Oh no, not another red flag. No way. Alonso, what are the team radios? Oh, there's just so many team radios now coming through. Red flag. Right, well, we'll get a replay soon enough of what's happened to Fernando Alonso. Is there a red flag for the nozzle? A bit of bouncing. Strange on the entry. The car is safe. Oh, Alonso's just stuck in the gravel. Okay, so Alonso's not crashed the car. He's just stuck in the gravel. Interesting. Right. Well, soon enough he will. He'll be fine. They'll just have to pick him up. But yeah, I mean, we were getting some good laps here. Leclerc was purple in the first sector. Hamilton was purple in the middle sector. We were going to get some good hot laps. And Fernando Alonso has gone and beached it at turn number 9. Unfortunate there. Oh my god, it looks like he's done a full 180 as well. The tires have been converted into rally tires, and yeah, he lost the rear of the car as he went into Degna 1. On the exit of Degna 1, like on that curb, I think he just lost it, and the car ended up doing a full 180. Okay, well, that is the second red flag of the session. Alonso is making many mistakes this season. It's time for him to retire. I mean, I don't know. Maybe. You say many mistakes, but he made one mistake Australia, and then he's made one mistake in a practice session. Like, yeah, you got to cut him some slack. We saw Sainz make a mistake in Australia. Like, you know, I do agree with you. Sometimes sooner or later, the retirement time will come for Fernando Alonso, but I just hope that Alonso's just done it as well. Alonso's touched the grass. I think Alonso actually touched the grass with a pretty significant margin here. Let's have a look at the replay again. Yeah, his front wheel was on the grass. So if his front wheel was on the grass, his front left was on the grass. That means his rear left was definitely on the grass. Yeah. Unfortunate, really. Unfortunate there for Fernando, but that's how it goes at Suzuka. There's no entry curb, and if there's no entry curbs, there's grass. And you touch the grass, see you later very much. See you later very much. See you later. Thank you very much. Yeah. Oh, this was the corner. Yeah, Albon did this in I think in the first season of his Red Bull. Yeah, the first time he was with Red Bull at Suzuka, I think Albon did this, or maybe he did it at the final chicane. But either way, yeah, it's a very common mistake around Suzuka, because all of the drivers are so used to having entry curbs that when there is just grass there, they have a bit of margin when there's an entry curb, but when there's grass, there's no margin, and that's why they call it a driver's track. You know. The driver's skill really comes out to show. So, yeah. Unfortunate there for Fernando Alonso. Hopefully you're still, in perfect racing shape once Adrian Newey designs him a monstrous 2026 Aston Martin. Yeah, that would be brilliant to see. All right. This session restart should not take too long, to be honest. Let's see. I'm going to say session probably restarts in around, I don't know, 3 minutes. I'll just put it up on the screen. I think I haven't got anything official from race control, but I'm going to make a prediction. Probably will be wrong, but I'm going to make a prediction regardless. Okay. Also, folks, do let me know if you have any sort of suggestions for any more segments that I can sort of add into the stream. So this stream I've added in having the onboard laps of the circuit in wet conditions and in dry conditions. If there's anything else that you think that I could add during the streams, like in these little breaks, in these red flags, or in between qualifying sessions, then do let me know, because I'd love to hear your thoughts. Potentially add some new things into the stream. Keep it fresh. Okay, track temperature 32 degrees, wind 12.6 kilometers per hour, so it's dropped down a little bit. Oh, look at that, we're one subscriber off 135k. 2 red flags in the same practice session. Oh, my prediction was wrong. Was my prediction right, or was my prediction wrong? Oh, my prediction was wrong by 1 minute. I was 1 minute too high. So, in fact, the session's restarting in 1 minute and 30 seconds. Fantastic. Remove the dancing soundbar. They're a little annoying. Okay, I will. I will probably. I've heard quite a lot of complaints, and nobody's really said any good things about the soundbar. So I will probably could get rid of that. Yeah, Alonso's just beached in the gravel. So yeah, would love to see you showing comparisons of times to previous year's sessions. Yeah, okay. I see what you're saying. Like, get the lap times from the 2024 session and the 2023 session, and show how the cars are getting quicker and quicker. All right. Do a weatherman segment. Yeah, I could do that. I could do the weather. I mean, see, the weather segment's only really interesting if it's raining. At least that's my perspective. I don't know. So I don't know. Let me know. I could make the radio thing, like the dancing sound thing, a little smaller. Let's have a look at the properties here. Let's change the height to like 50. Yeah, I think that's a little smaller, a little bit less distracting. But of course, I'll move it right to the bottom there. I also keep it up on the stream a little bit just to make sure that I haven't muted my mic, to be honest. So yeah, I have to leave it up there a little bit just to make sure that my mic isn't totally muted. All right. It's called a graphical equalizer. Yeah, well, fair enough. Brilliant. Let's see. What else have we got going on? Lance Stroll has done genuinely impressive stuff in the AMR 25. Hate it or not, he has a chance to do 50 points at best, but Lance has improved his game and mindset, all at the cost of Alonso dying. Yeah, well, let me get rid of this timer here. Yeah, Lance is he's actually not doing that bad of a job. Like, of course, everyone loves to give Lance Stroll a bit of flack for being a bit of a pay driver when he started, but now if you look at him, he is fairly competent and he's been able to keep up with Alonso for quite a while now. He's not right there every single time, but sometimes he's there, sometimes he's a little bit ahead of Alonso as well. Now we don't really know if that's because Alonso's getting slower or if that's because Stroll's getting quicker, but nonetheless, he's getting close to Fernando Alonso, which is a good thing. Yeah. Okay, what else have we got going on here? All right. Also, folks, if you guys are interested in watching the stream on Twitch, and if that's your sort of preferred streaming platform, then I am live on Twitch as well, F1_gamer_5. That is my Twitch, that's my Instagram. Yeah, in fact, go ahead and follow me on Instagram as well. I think we're making our way towards 1,000 followers on Instagram. I'll just post random stuff, really, some behind the scenes stuff. Of the whole streaming process. I could probably post a streaming setup as well. Yeah, but and I'll post some memes here and there, and then feel free to DM me as well on Instagram, F1_gamer_5. All right. Aston Martin has very much been pulling a Toyota from the 2000, lots of money in for little gain. Hopefully Newey will pull that in order. Yeah, that is true. I mean, there's been a lot of money going into Aston Martin, but you've also got to sort of look at this perspective, right? Like, McLaren were pumping loads of money into the Formula One team for ages before, and then finally after so many years, they made their way back up to the top of the pack. And the thing is, most of these Formula One teams are still profitable. Like, if you look at the Formula One team as a business, like, Lawrence Stroll will put money in, but they'll get so many sponsors that it's still fine. Oh, Gasly 312 kilometers per hour as he goes down the main straight there, goes through the speed trap, sorry, and up into third place goes Pierre Gasly. Very nice lap there from him. Yeah. There has been 2 long red flags, so not much time for the to be on track. Yeah, not too much time to be on track, but the drivers are out on soft tyres now. We're getting our final quali sims in the final 15 minutes of the session, which is always good news. F1 game of face reveal when? Face reveal. Well, I don't know. Maybe if I can convince an ex F1 driver to come onto the stream, like Nicholas Scotifi, if I can get him to come onto the stream, or get any ex F1 driver to come onto the stream, I'll do a face reveal. But if you go back to my oldest stream on the channel, then in fact I've written there like, oh, if we hit 1,000 subscribers, I'll do a face reveal. I said that, but then I ended up never doing a face reveal. Little unfortunate. Oh my god, Isaac Hadjar up into first place. Wow. 26 milliseconds ahead of Lewis Hamilton. Solid lap there. Liam Lawson up into 4th place. I mean, look at this. The V-carbs are the Red Bulls and the Red Bulls are the V-carbs. That's exactly what's going on right now. Lando Norris up into 1st place. Brilliant lap from him. Yeah, if Vettel is my first guy. Oh, Vettel. Oh my god, Vettel, my favourite F1 driver. That would be mind-blowing. Yeah, track evolution's playing a little bit of a factor. Of course, the drivers are on soft tyres. That's my... Oh, no, another red flag. What's happened now? Who's crashed? What? Everyone looks to be going on just fine. Who's still on the track? Everyone's fine. Everyone's moving around, right? Or am I missing someone? Oh, there's some grass on fire. Oh, okay. There's grass on fire. That's what it is. Brilliant. 3rd red flag of the session, folks. Fantastic. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Very much is appreciated, ladies and gentlemen. Glad that you guys are enjoying the coverage. We're making our way towards 1,500 likes. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you everyone for subscribing. Very much is appreciated. Oh my goodness me. So we've got some grass on fire, and the grass on fire has now delayed our session even further, which is fantastic news. Fantastic. We were going to get some quali sims, and now that has all just been thrown out the window. Brilliant. Love to see it. Love to see it. Okie dokes. What else have we got going on then? Well, not much, to be honest. Not much. In fact, I would like to let you guys know. It is on the thing at the bottom of the screen, but it only pops up once in a while. And at the bottom of the screen, it says that there is rain forecast for Sunday. Yeah, there's more bits of track on fire, and they're just putting it out with a fire extinguisher now, but. Yeah, so what was I saying? There is forecast for rain on Sunday. The chance of rain has been going up more and more. It was 20% earlier in the week, then it was 40%, then it was 60%, and now it is 80% chance of rain on Sunday, which is fantastic. So while we're waiting for the fire to be put out on the circuit, and while we get underway for our the run, for the final bits of running here in FP2, I'm going to take you through a lap of wet Suzuka, because, yeah. May I ask, how does grass catch fire on an F1 track? Honestly, I have no idea. It's fairly sunny in Suzuka, and I'm guessing it's fairly dry as well, and the grass just sort of self-combusted, like... Maybe it's the sparks, actually. That might be what it is. The drivers driving along, of course, right next to the circuit, there's sparks flying out from the bottom of their car, and the spark is the thing that sort of ignites the grass. All right. Well, there we go. So I shall take you through a lap of a wet Suzuka as we are waiting for the red flag. here we go then. So this is, I'll make it slightly bigger because there's not much else going on screen. So yeah, as you go through turn number 1 and turn number 2, you go through the S's. They're not nearly as much grip as if you're in dry conditions, and you do have to do a lot of lifting and coasting here. You don't really want to be touching the brakes, because if you touch the brakes, chance of you locking up are very, very high. But then you sort of just coast your way through this corner, and as you approach Dunlop curve here, the car goes a little bit light, and you've got to stay away from that outside curb, otherwise you will spin. It's a lot more dangerous in real life than it is on the game. You go through Degner 1 here. This is where Alonso spun out, but you keep it under control. Don't go over the curbs, because that will cost you a lot of time. Then towards the hairpin, you want to brake slightly towards the inside. You want to take the outside line for the braking point, because that's where all the built-up rubber is. So you want to take the inside line when you're braking. These are all the different tricks you got to take for when you're racing in the rain. That you have to take different racing lines for your braking point, so you can get as much grip as possible. And then the same thing for spoon curve. You take slightly different lines. I haven't taken a different line here because the F1 game doesn't simulate the proper racing lines. But you'll take even more of a V-shaped line, and you'll try and straighten out your exit as much as possible. And then through 130R, this is very, very tricky. You go through, you shift up into 8th gear, and then try and hold it as tightly as possible without snapping the car out of control. And then onto the brakes much, much earlier than before. Don't drive over the curbs here, otherwise you will snap the car. And then take the inside line towards the finish, and getting onto the power with as little wheel spin as possible. But of course you will always wheel spin. You're shifting from 3rd gear all the way up into 8th as you go through the corner. So yeah, and that's going to be on Sunday, ladies and gentlemen, when it is going to be raining. Yeah, it's a lot more dangerous IRL than in the game. Yeah, obviously. But no, I mean the specific curbs. Sometimes the game accurately shows how dangerous this curb is. But especially Degner 1 and Degner 2, those corners have got what do I say? They've got a lot of camber on those corners, and because they've got a lot of camber, what happens is that all of the rainwater that falls, it sort of just pools towards the corner of the circuit, and because it pools towards the corner of the circuit, the corner and the apex, you don't want to be driving over that bit, because you're going to aquaplane, you're going to spin out. About the camera settings in F1 21, do you use the esports settings or do you use personal settings? I used in F1 2021, I'm a big time trial merchant. The only thing I play on the F1 games is time trial. So I use the esports. Well, I use whatever, I think, what's his name? TRL Limitless JD. I don't know. You guys probably know better. But I think the camera settings that he recommended, I slightly tweaked those and then just use those. Yeah. Did anyone ever tell you you're a cool bloke? Thanks everyone for making my Austrian TV sound better. Well, thank you very much, Olo von B. What I'm in fact going to do, I'm going to try and get a VPN sponsor, because, as many of you may know, in Formula 1, you can, not in Formula 1, in Austria, you can watch Formula 1 for free, but of course it'll have German coverage or Austrian coverage. And because of that, the problem is that, well, most of you guys don't know German, but you do like English, and you do understand English. So the strategy is to get a VPN to Austria, watch the free coverage that you get, but of course mute it, and then play my live stream on top. I think it's a pretty big brain strategy, to be honest. Honestly, I would add that to the words of wisdom, to be fair. So I think that's, I would add that to the words of wisdom. Let me know what you guys think. David Souza, the simulator game to highlight the track is fantastic. Thanks for adding that to your content. Very much is appreciated, buddy. Yeah, I think it was actually one of the moderators that came up with the idea. I think it was MCG came up with the idea last year. And then, so I shall, it's him to thank, really. And also, David, for the people that are channel members, I've added some more what's it called, emotes. So if you guys are interested, we've got some Fernando Alonso emotes. We've got some clown emotes for the Ferrari team. But yeah, if you guys want to use those, then feel free to do so. If you want to add any more, then do let me know. Oh, that's what I do. Okay, well, there's a lot of people doing that then. Well, fantastic. I guess I shall get on the phone with NordVPN then. We've got 5 minutes left now, so the drivers will get a couple more hot laps in, and yeah. They're now coming out on some of them out on medium, some of them out on soft. So I don't think we're getting any more soft runs really. The thing is, we would have got soft runs if it wasn't for the red flags, but yeah, the drivers don't want to use any more fresh set of softs anymore. So that's why we are sat in. That's why everyone's out on the mediums and the hards. Yeah. What is the channel in Austria? I think it's ORF or Service. Those are the two. Yeah. You should add the clown emote for VCAL. I mean, there's a clown emote. You can use it for whoever you want. But yeah. Alex Albon, unfortunately, in 19th place. There's no... I think I've got the Alex Albon Giga Chad meme on the emotes as well. But unfortunately... 19th place there for Alex Albon. Quite a ways off the pace, to be fair. Not ideal. The Red Bulls were doing well in FP1. This is FP1, so it isn't really telling. Yeah, well, I don't know. I think they are just don't know what's going on really with the Red Bulls. They just didn't do their soft tire runs. That's the thing. Everyone else did do soft tire runs, and very clearly Tsunoda and Verstappen didn't do their quick soft tire runs. Thanks for the content tonight. Needed it while studying for exams. Very much is appreciated, buddy. Thanks for the $5. Yeah, I mean, I need to study for my exams as well. But I was too busy doing hot laps on the F1 game, recording footage. So yeah, I should probably get to it after this stream finishes. Start doing some studying as well. All right. Oh, thank you, Marcus, for joining the channel member. Very much is appreciated. We got the 2 McLarens. They've done their hot laps. Look at that. Oscar Piastri up to the top of the times. Lando Norris into second place. Nicely done. Yeah, solid laps there from the McLaren duo. It's a 1-2 for them for now. And we've got Charles Leclerc. He did his hot lap. 7th place for him. Albon does do a good lap and he's up into 10th place. Fantastic job there. And let's wait and see. Why was... we've got a replay here from Charles Leclerc. And, yeah, just driving over the curbs quite violently there, but managing to keep it under control. So, pretty good going there from Charles Leclerc. And Sainz across the line, 10th place for him. 10th place for Carlos Sainz, and he's managing to keep up with Alex Albon. In fact, look at those lap times between the two drivers. Sainz is a 10th quicker. Brilliant. Derek Pillington, I always do Austrian VPN with your courage. Oh, that is fantastic. Well, I guess we've got a bunch of people doing it at the same time, so is appreciated. I'm literally taking a 30-point quiz listening to F1 Gamer, clearly neglecting academics for F1. This is a channel-wide tradition. Yeah, honestly, incredible. But yeah, thank you, Derek, for being a channel member. Is appreciated. And we got a green light pit lane exit. Oh no, got a green light because pit lane exit is open. We've got a minute 42 left, and then the pit lane will be closing. And Max Verstappen, he's on a medium tire run, but losing traction as he exits the final chicane. He's 6 seconds down on his Piastri's time. Of course, that's because Verstappen is doing a long run, but nonetheless, he's only on 4-lap old medium tyres, and he's losing traction as he comes out the final chicane. So it's not a good sign there for the Red Bull. And there's been a lot of talk about who's the better Red Bull driver, who should have been in that second seat. Should it have been Lawson? Should it have been Yuki? But I think the Max Verstappen, as he rightly so pointed out, the much bigger issue at hand is that the Red Bull car isn't quick enough. Like, it doesn't matter to him if Lawson's his number 2 driver, if Tsunoda is. The bigger issue to him is, why is the car not quick enough? Why am I potentially not just going to breeze to a championship again? Yeah. Why did they not extend the FP2 session? They didn't extend the free practice sessions because there are other things going on the circuit, and even if there aren't, the regulations say that in a free practice session, the time is allowed to tick down. It doesn't really matter. Let's say there are like really extreme circumstances, like in, let's say, free practice 1 and 2, it just rains so hard that nobody does any practice, and then in free practice 3 there are like 3 oh my god, another red flag. No way. There's just no way. There's 4 red flags in a session. Not another one. Who's crashed now? I mean, unless there's just more grass on fire. But that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for the end of thank you for tuning in for free practice 2. So in 23 hours time is the start of qualifying. So whatever time it is now, you go back 1 hour. Tomorrow, that is the start of qualifying. So I'm going to end the stream now. I'll take you over to the qualifying stream. Be sure to hit the like button on that. I will also be commentating free practice 3. So that will also, so I'll also be doing that one as well. So I'll be doing free practice 3 and qualifying. But if you guys could hit the like button on the qualifying stream, that really helps out the channel. The YouTube algorithm absolutely loves it. So, yeah, that is all from me. We've just got a replay here. I think it was some sparks coming off Charles Leclerc's car that caused the fire. But yeah, more grass on fire. And that is the end of the free practice 2 session. So I shall see you all tomorrow for free practice 3. And then I'll see you for qualifying as well. Thank you everyone for tuning in. And yeah, be sure to hit the like button for tomorrow's stream. See you later. Cheers.